Hello, my name is, name of the storyteller, and today I am going to tell you a story that changed my life forever. It was the day I learned the truth that broke my heart, but at the same time gave me a chance to start from scratch. If you have ever been in a situation where you were betrayed by those you trusted the most, this story may resonate with you. But you know what? At the end of all this chaos, I found the strength to move on. An exciting beginning. It was an ordinary evening. I came home after a long day at work, tired but happy because I was going to spend the evening with my wife. We have been together for over 25 years, 2 wonderful adult daughters, a stable life. What more do you need for happiness? My wife was in the shower, and her phone was on the nightstand. It was nothing special. I never interfered in her personal affairs. We trusted each other, at least that's what I thought, but suddenly the phone screen lit up. I casually glanced over and saw a message. It was from an unknown number. "I can't wait to meet you." And a kiss emoji at the end. My heart sank. I tried to find a logical explanation. Could it be a friend? A colleague? But then why the emoji? I wasn't in the habit of reading her texts, but this time something inside me made me pick up the phone. I opened the message and what I saw made me forget how to breathe. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the screen. And 2 emotions were fighting inside me, shock and denial. I scrolled through the chat, looking for an explanation, looking for an opportunity to find something that would dispel my fears. But each new message only confirmed the worst. "Last time was great." She wrote. "I can't wait to see you again. You are so attentive." I swallowed the lump in my throat. My eyes were watering from the pain. I read the correspondence several times, hoping to find some clue that it was just a misunderstanding. But there was none. My wife came out of the shower. I heard her footsteps. My heart was pounding, but I pretended nothing had happened. I put the phone down, pretended to just sit there and think about something else. She came up to me, smiling. "Did something happen?" she asked, wiping her hair with a towel. I forced myself to smile back. "No, everything is fine." But inside me, real chaos had already begun. I hardly slept that night. Suspicions were burning me from the inside. I did not want to believe that she was capable of such a thing. We had been together all our lives, raised our children, supported each other in the most difficult moments. And now what? Could it be true? I decided that I couldn't just ignore it. I had to find out more. The next day, when my wife said she was going to a girls' night out with her daughters in the evening, I decided to check it out. I texted them both and asked if they were really planning to meet. They confirmed that yes, they were going to meet. They were excited to spend time together. My wife was lying to my face. After a sleepless night spent thinking about it, I realized that just sitting there and guessing was not an option. I had to get proof. I had to know the truth for sure, no matter how bitter it was. In the morning, my wife behaved as usual, smiling, making coffee, talking about some trivial things that didn't interest me at the time. I looked at her and tried to recognize the woman I had loved for more than 2 decades. But now she seemed like a stranger to me. That day, she said that she was going to meet our daughters in the evening, saying that they hadn't spent time together for a long time and wanted to have a girls' night out. I nodded, although everything inside me froze. This was the key moment. She was lying to my face. I decided to check her words and immediately texted our daughters. "Hi, girls. How are you doing? Are you looking forward to seeing your mom?" The youngest, Sophie, answered almost instantly. "Yes. We're really looking forward to seeing her. We haven't been together for a long time." The older one, Lisa, confirmed the same, adding, we're already planning where we're going. It will be fun, I sighed. So they really think their mother will come to them. But I already knew that this was not going to happen. A thought flashed through my mind: what if I'm wrong? What if all this is just a coincidence? But my inner voice screamed otherwise. No. She is lying. She is cheating. And I have to prove it. I started to act. First, I remembered that my wife's phone had the geolocation function activated. We often used it for convenience, when we needed to quickly find each other in the city. She had no idea that this feature could become my weapon. As soon as evening came and she was about to leave, I watched her. She was too smiling, too light. She was dressed differently from how she usually goes to visit her daughters, a stylish dress, expensive perfume, as if she was going on a date. She kissed me on the cheek, not even realizing that I already knew the truth. Don't stay up too late, okay? I said gently, pretending to be calm, as always. She laughed and left the house. I waited for 5 minutes. 10. 15. Then I opened my phone and looked up her location. She was not where our daughters were supposed to be. She had gone to the other side of town. To a restaurant. My heart was pounding, but I already knew what to do. I took my jacket and car keys and went after her. At that moment, I asked myself, why am I doing this? Why don't I just wait and talk to her later? But I already knew the answer. I didn't want to hear a lie. I didn't want to see her pitiful face as she made excuses. I needed a fact. A proof. Something that would put everything in its place without the possibility of manipulation. The drive to the restaurant seemed endless. When I parked nearby, I saw her car. She was already inside. I took a deep breath. It was the moment of truth. I got out of the car and approached the restaurant, trying to remain inconspicuous. I still had hope that I was wrong, but when I looked through the window, the last shred of that hope shattered. She was sitting at the table, not alone. Her boss was there. They were holding hands, and then he leaned toward her and they kissed. I felt something inside me break. My hands were trembling, my breath was catching. I pulled out my phone. I took a photo. I opened a family chat, and without a word, I sent the picture with a caption: "Glad you're enjoying your girls' night out." I was sitting in the car, staring out the dark windows of the restaurant she was in. My heart was pounding and my palms were sweating. I didn't know if I wanted to see what I suspected. Part of me was still hoping that this was some kind of silly misunderstanding, that she was really meeting her friends or had just stopped by here by chance before a girls' night out. But another part of me was sure that I was about to see the truth that would change everything. I get out of the car and slowly walk up to the restaurant. I choose an inconspicuous place by the window, where I can clearly see the inside hall. My eyes feverishly scan the patrons, looking for her. And there she is. She's sitting at a table by the window, and her boss is sitting across from her. They laugh. She flirts her hair behind her ear, leans closer to him. My head starts ringing. I don't immediately realize what exactly paralyzed me at that moment. It's as if something inside me broke loose and fell to pieces. I stand there like nailed, unable to take my eyes off him, and then he takes her hand. Easily, naturally, as if it was not the first time he had done this. She doesn't pull her hand away, doesn't get surprised. On the contrary, her fingers slide gently over his palm, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I can barely contain myself. For a few minutes they just talk, smiling at each other. I think this is the limit, that it can't get any worse. But then I see her leaning closer, and he takes her chin, and they kiss, and that's it. It's over. I don't remember taking out my phone. I don't remember picking it up and taking a few pictures. My head is pounding, my eyes are burning, but my hands act automatically. I take pictures of this moment, make a video. I need proof that this is not a nightmare, not my imagination. I open the family chat, where she is, our daughters. My fingers are shaking, but I force myself to act quickly. I attach a photo and write, "Glad you're enjoying your girls' night out." I press send and turn off my phone. I don't want to hear her excuses. I don't want to wait for answers, explanations, words about how it's not what it seems. I turn around and walk out. I get into the car. I breathe. 1, 2, 3, no. I'm not going home. Not now, I'm going to my brother. He is the only person who can listen to me now and not ask me stupid questions. He opens the door, sees my condition and doesn't even ask me anything. He just nods, invites me inside and silently pours me a whiskey. I take a sip. The bitterness burns my throat, but it's nothing compared to what I feel inside. She cheated, I finally say. My brother is silent, only nodding in approval. He has always been the one who understood without words. What now? He asks. I don't know. But I know one thing for sure, nothing will be the same after this. I wake up to a sharp sound. The phone vibrates continuously on the bedside table. My eyes are still blurry, my head is foggy, but as soon as I unlock the screen, sleep finally leaves me. Dozens of missed calls, my wife, older daughter, my younger daughter, even a few messages from relatives who don't usually interfere in our lives. The last message from my wife, "Please talk to me, it's not what you think." I can explain. It's just a stupid mistake, please don't do anything stupid. I want to laugh. What's stupid? Does she think I'm going to make a scene? That I will come home and start screaming and breaking furniture? No, I'm not, I am calm. It's such a strange, almost eerie silence inside. Like after a storm, when everything around you is destroyed, but you stand in the middle of this chaos and realize that nothing hurts you anymore. I open a family chat. The youngest daughter, 24 years old, "Dad, please say something. I don't know what's going on, but it's a mistake, right?" Older daughter, 26 years old, "Dad, we have to talk. You can't just cut mom off after all these years together." Cut her off, these words cut deeper than I'm willing to admit. I close the chat. I dial my brother. "Are you awake?" His voice is hoarse, it's clear that I woke him up. "Yeah, did she call?" "Everyone called," he sighs. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." "No, I know deep down, but I don't want to rush into it. You realize that she will try to get out of it, right?" My brother continues, "Of course I do. And talking to her now will do nothing. She will cry, assure me that it was a one-time thing, that she didn't mean anything. I can imagine her. Her eyes swollen with tears. Her voice trembling with despair. I see her again in the restaurant. How she takes his hand. How she kisses him. "You need to find a lawyer," my brother says. I don't say anything. Do you hear me? Don't wait. Don't let her manipulate you. First, a lawyer. Then we'll talk. I realize that he's right, and once I make this decision, everything becomes easier. I dial the number. "Hello, I need a divorce consultation." When I hang up, I have a strange feeling inside. As if I've just taken the first step on a long road that will change my whole life. Or maybe it already changed yesterday. I stare out the window for a long time, watching the sun slowly rise over the city. I used to love this moment, the dawn silence, the calm, the feeling of a new day. Now there is something different about this silence. It does not bring peace. It is loud, like the sound of a bell that no one hears. The phone vibrates again. A message: "I need to see you. Please come. Let's talk." Just talk. I look at the screen. If it was yesterday, I might have believed him. But now, I open the chat. My finger hovers over the keyboard. What should I say to her? What do I know? That I've seen it all? That this is the end? No, I just close the chat and put the phone away. My brother comes into the room. What's up? I made an appointment with a lawyer. He nods. It's the right thing to do. Do you think she's home now? I think so. She's waiting for you to come, I sigh. Are you ready to talk to her? I don't know. But I know I need to do it. I'm going to go to the house. My brother looks at me as if he wants to say something, but finally just nods. If you need anything, call me. I go outside. The world seems too bright, too loud. It takes no more than 10 minutes to get home. During these 10 minutes, I think about everything. About our years together. About how we laughed and made plans. How I never doubted her, and now I'm standing in front of the door. I sigh, put the key in the lock, turn it. It's quiet inside. I go into the kitchen and there she is. She looks confused. Her eyes are red, and there is an unfinished cup of coffee on the table. Her hands are shaking. We need to talk, she says. I sit down across from her. Go ahead. And then she begins. It was a mistake, she whispers. I don't say anything. I didn't mean to. It didn't mean anything. I look at her. There is despair in her eyes. It meant nothing. I repeat. She closes her eyes. Please don't do this. It doesn't have to end like this. I lean forward. It ended when you decided he was more important than our family. Her shoulders shake. What happens now? I inhale. Exhale. I'm going to file for divorce. She freezes. She looks at me as if she doesn't understand what I just said. What? I'm going to file for divorce, I repeat calmly, without anger, without tearing up. She shakes her head. No. No, you can't just go and ruin everything, destroy. I feel something inside me clench, like the anger I've been holding back is finally breaking through. It wasn't me who destroyed it. My voice is calm, but there is an icy sharpness to it. She stands up and grabs the edge of the table, as if she needs to hold on to it, to keep from falling. It was a mistake. She whispers again. How many times? She doesn't answer. How many times did you meet him? Her lips tremble. She looks away. I don't know. You don't know? I smile crookedly. Once a week, right? At least that's what your text said. She closes her eyes. It's not what you think. I laugh again. Briefly. Without joy, not what I think. I saw you. I saw you holding hands. I saw you kissing him. I saw everything, and you still want to tell me it's not what I think it is. She starts to cry. Please. I made a mistake. A mistake? A mistake is when you forget to turn off the coffee machine before you leave the house. A mistake is when you accidentally dial the wrong number. What you did is not a mistake. It's a choice. She sobs and covers her face with her hands. I watch her and feel nothing, no pity. No sympathy. Nothing. I'm filing for divorce, I repeat. She suddenly drops her hands, her eyes full of panic. But what will happen to our daughters? I look her straight in the eye. They are adults. They will decide for themselves what is more important to them, the truth or your excuses. She puts her hand over her mouth, as if she wants to say something, but can't. I stand up. We will talk again. But not as husband and wife. The lawyers will work out the details. She looks like she's going to faint. I can't stay here any longer. I turn around and walk out. I close the door behind me, and for the first time in a long time, I take a deep breath that doesn't burn my chest. I drive away from home, not knowing where I'm going. I'm just driving. The streets pass by, but I don't notice anything around me. My head is empty, but at the same time, 1,000 thoughts are raging there. Divorce. The word sounds so clear that it seems as if it is written on my forehead. I never thought I would say it in relation to my own life. I always thought we had a strong family. Yes, there were difficulties. We quarreled and made up. But I always thought that we both knew that at the end of the day we would still choose each other. It turned out that this was not the case. The phone vibrates. I glance at it. It's a message from my youngest daughter. Dad, please tell me it's not true. I grip the steering wheel tighter. Of course, she already knows. I pull the car to the side of the road and look at the screen. What should I say to her? That it's true. That their mother lied to us all? That our family will never be the same again. I can feel the heaviness growing in my chest. After a few minutes of silence, I write, I'm sorry, dear. But it's true. I need some time. I love you. I send it. A little later, a reply comes back. I love you too. I close my eyes. The second vibration, a message from my eldest daughter. Dad, I know you're angry, but it doesn't mean you have to destroy everything. Everyone makes mistakes. I take a deep breath. This is it. My eldest daughter has always been closer to her mother. She resembles her in appearance, character, and the way she speaks. She has always defended her, even when we quarreled over trifles. But this is not a trifle. I type a response. This is not a mistake. This is a betrayal. And not just me, but our whole family. I send it. No more messages come. I'm sitting in the car, looking at my phone and realizing that our family is now splitting, and I can't stop it. I start the engine and drive on. The next stop is the lawyer's office. The lawyer's office is located in the city center. A tall glass building, an expensive neighborhood. I get out of the car, feeling tired. I didn't think I would ever end up here. I always saw myself as a person who would live a marriage to the end. We created a home together, raised our children, went through so much. And here I am standing in front of the door of a lawyer's office, preparing to break up what I've been building for decades. I take a deep breath and go inside. Good afternoon, I have an appointment for a consultation. I tell the woman at the reception desk. She smiles a professional smile and looks at her computer. What is your name? I tell her, Attorney Charles Nolan will see you in 10 minutes. You can wait in the lobby. I nod and move on. There are several men and women in the waiting room, all in business suits. Some of them are nervously flipping through their phones. Others are just staring at the same spot. I sit down on the leather sofa, resting my elbows on my knees. The phone vibrates again. I sigh and take it out. My wife, please talk to me. We can fix this. I clutch the phone in my hand. What does she want to fix? What has already happened? What I saw with my own eyes. I take a deep breath and type a response. There is nothing to fix. I've already made up my mind. I send it and turn off the phone. The door to the end of the corridor opens, and a tall man in a gray suit comes out. Mr. My last name? I stand up. Yes, sir, yes, come in. I go into the office. It is spacious, with large windows. There are shelves of law books on the walls and a coffee machine in the corner. Charles Nolan points to the chair opposite. Sit down. I sit down. He opens a folder and picks up a pen. So, you want to file for divorce? I nod. Are there any joint property, children, financial obligations? The children are adults, 24 and 26. As for property, we have a house, a car, savings. Is there a marriage contract? I shake my head. No. He nods and writes something down. Is there a reason for the divorce that you would like to state? I look directly at him. Cheating. He nods again. Do you have any proof? I pull out my phone, open the photos I took in the restaurant, and hand them to him. He looks at them carefully, nods. This is convincing. In this case, the case can be formalized without delay. I hear these words, but my mind is still in chaos. I'm really doing it. I'm getting a divorce. How long will it take? It depends on whether your wife resists. If she doesn't object, the process can take 3 to 6 months. If she makes it difficult, it can take a year or more. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I want this to be fast. He nods. Good. Let's start with the paperwork. I sign the first papers, and from that moment on, everything becomes official. My marriage is over. I leave the office and breathe in the fresh air, and for the first time in a long time, I feel not pain, but relief. My phone did not stop ringing. It was vibrating with endless messages and calls, but I didn't have the strength to answer. I just looked at it as if it were some alien device I no longer needed. My mind was a mess. Maddie, her name kept coming up again and again. She called non-stop, left voicemails, wrote, begged me to answer. Her words were full of panic and despair. Dad, please talk to me. I didn't mean to lie to you. I really hated it. I don't know how to live with this now. I read all of this, and with each new message I felt something painful clenching in my chest. She was my little girl. Always. The one who ran to me with open arms when I came home from work, who cried on my shoulder after her first heartbreak, who asked me to come over at night when she was scared to sleep alone in the dorm, and now she was part of this lie. I closed my eyes, trying to control my emotions. On the one hand, I realized that she was not to blame. My wife had put her in a terrible situation. She had to choose between honesty with me and loyalty to her mother. But she knew. She knew and kept silent. I ran my palm over my face, feeling tired. I couldn't analyze it now. I picked up my phone and finally typed a short message. Maddie, I love you, but please give me space. I saw her read it immediately, but she didn't respond, and that was good. I put the phone away and closed my eyes for a moment. But just a few seconds later, the screen lit up again, a message from Alice. It was different with my older daughter. She didn't send dozens of hysterical messages. Just 3. Dad, I'm sorry you found out this way. It was a mistake. Mom just slipped up. Please don't destroy the family because of one mistake. I read it and barely stopped myself from smashing the phone against the wall. One mistake, 29 years of marriage. 3 years of deception. Daughters who knew and kept silent. And this is just one mistake. I was shaking with rage. I sat down and, barely containing my anger, wrote her back, Alice, this is not a mistake. This is a betrayal. From my whole family. The message instantly received a read status. There was no response. But about 10 minutes later, the phone vibrated again. This time it was not Alice, it was her, my wife. I didn't open the message, but the first words came out in the notification. You shouldn't take out your anger on your children. I deleted the notification without even reading it. I had nothing more to talk to her about. I turned off my phone and finally lay down on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Maddie. She'll probably come back, Alice. I wasn't sure, and did I even want her to? A few months passed. He was finalizing the divorce, getting out of depression, starting a new phase in his life. At first it was hard, memories came back at night, the pain of betrayal did not let go. But over time it began to change. He realized that life does not end and that he has no right to let the past destroy him. He began to take care of himself. The gym became his way of getting rid of negative energy and putting his thoughts in order. At first, it was difficult, his body got tired quickly, and old images were constantly playing in his head. But the more he worked on himself, the easier it became. Every new day brought a feeling that he was changing. He also started traveling. At first it was just an escape, from memories, from pain, from an empty house. But then he started to enjoy it. New places, new people, new emotions. He discovered things he hadn't noticed before. Small joys, morning coffee in an unfamiliar city, fresh air in the mountains, sunset over the ocean, all helped him feel that he was alive. Later, his younger daughter was the first to resume contact with him. She missed her father, and although at first their conversations were restrained, over time they became closer. She would visit him, they would spend time together, and this gave him strength. His eldest daughter ignored him for a long time. That was the most painful thing. She took everything too sharply, accused him, although he had done nothing. He didn't put pressure, didn't force her to communicate, he just waited. One day she came to him on her own. She stood on the threshold, nervously clutching the phone in her hands. There was uncertainty in her eyes, but also something else, a desire to understand. They talked for a long time, openly, honestly. For the first time in all that time, he felt that she was listening to him, that she was beginning to understand the truth. In the end, they made up. He felt like a father again, felt that he was not alone. It was a new beginning. One day he met a woman who had gone through something similar. It happened by chance, a conversation that started out as nothing suddenly turned into a frank discussion of the past. She, like him, had experienced betrayal, pain, and divorce. She, too, had lost her family, and was trying to pick herself up in pieces. At first, they just talked. It was easy, no tension, no expectations. They understood each other without words. They could joke about things that would be painful for others, because they had both been there. It was a friendship that did not require anything extra. But over time, something began to change. He found himself thinking that he was waiting for her to text him. That he wanted to see her smile. That he felt different when she was around. She felt it too. And one day he just took her hand, and it was the right thing to do. His daughters saw him change. They saw that their father was happy again, and this strengthened their relationship even more. They were no longer afraid that he was lonely. They could see that he was moving forward. One evening they were all sitting together in the park, he, his daughters and her. They were laughing, talking, joking. At that moment he realized, he thought everything was lost. But in fact, it was a chance to start from scratch. Thank you for listening to this story. Life sometimes puts us through tough challenges, but even after the darkest times, there is always a chance for a new beginning. If you liked this story, please support me by liking it, subscribing to my channel, and letting me know what you think in the comments. Your support is very important to me. See you in the next video.